Say that Blake Lively finally realized that she needed to capitulate in a big way, and so she gave Team Baldoni and Brian Friedman what they seemed to be wanting, which is a full retraction.
This is not a nice person, and Justin bent over backwards to accommodate her many, many demands, which included, according to him, taking over the film.
All right, buckle up, because this is one celebrity saga you absolutely need to hear about. Picture this: two Hollywood powerhouses, Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, locked in one of the juiciest, most dramatic legal battles we've seen in years. And trust us, this story has everything: allegations, counter-allegations, courtroom drama, and even a documentary. It's like a real-life soap opera unfolding before our very eyes, and it's got everyone talking.
They believe that it's a continuation of the smear campaign that Blake initially claims happened while they were promoting the film.
So let's jump right into it. By now, you've probably heard whispers about the ongoing feud between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. These two aren't just co-stars from the movie It Ends With Us, they're also now bitter courtroom rivals. The drama started back in December 2024 when Blake Lively filed her bombshell complaint, accusing Justin Baldoni of some pretty serious stuff. According to her, during the filming of their movie, Justin allegedly improvised intimate scenes without prior consent. She also claimed he made some unwelcome comments that not only crossed boundaries, but created what she described as a hostile work environment. And if that wasn't enough, Blake's team says this led to emotional distress and a whole lot more.
I said that having read through Blake Lively's complaints, that it was evident to me that she was likely under the influence when she filed her complaint.
But here's where things get even messier. Justin didn't just sit back and take the heat. Oh no, he came right back swinging. He denied her allegations entirely and launched a countersuit against her for defamation and something called civil extortion. And get this, he's asking for a whopping $400 million in damages. Oh, and he didn't stop there. Justin even went after the New York Times for libel after they published Blake's initial complaint. Clearly, he's not about to let these accusations slide without a fight.
Creepy Baldoni, getting close to her, obviously making small chatter not in character so as not to make the scene, which didn't require dialogue, awkward. And he says
Now, here's where it gets even juicier. Fast forward to early 2025, and things are really starting to heat up. Both sides are gearing up for what's sure to be a dramatic courtroom showdown in March 2026. But before we even get to trial, there's already been a ton of drama behind the scenes. Blake's legal team recently filed for a protective order, aiming to keep certain private details, including her medical information and personal communications with other celebrities, out of the public eye. And honestly, can you blame her? Hollywood is like one giant fishbowl, and the last thing she probably wants is for sensitive info to leak and fuel the ever-hungry rumor mill. The Independent quoted one of her lawyers, who explained why this was such a big deal. They said, she said one category of information that needs to be kept between lawyers related to medical information, including mental health, and that personal and intimate conversations with unrelated third parties must be kept out of the public eye because while the public relations value would be high, the evidentiary value would be virtually non-existent. Sounds fair, right? But of course, Justin's camp had to clap back. His attorney, Brian Freeman, told TMZ that they supported the judge's decision to grant limited protections, but accused Blake of being exceedingly overbroad in her demands. He even hinted that this was all part of a strategy to hamper Justin's ability to defend himself. Yikes. Talk about lawyers going for the jugular.
That Justin won't be bullied by Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. So his lawyer told us that their recent court filings show how scared they are.
And speaking of the judge's ruling, here's what went down. On March 13, a federal judge granted a modified protective order. This was a small win for Blake, but it's not as airtight as her team probably hoped. The order allows certain materials to be labeled confidential or attorney's eyes only, which limits who can see them during the pretrial phase. However, the judge made it clear that anything introduced as evidence during the actual trial might not stay confidential. Translation: if this case goes to court, some of these documents could become public, and let's be real. When that happens, social media is going to explode. Now, Justin's lawyer wasted no time putting his spin on the ruling. He told TMZ, "We are fully in agreement with the court's decision to provide a narrow scope of protections to categorize such as private mental health records and personal security measures that have never been of interest to us, as opposed to Ms. Lively's exceedingly overbroad demand for documents over a 2.5-year period of time," which the court rightly quashed. He even suggested that they already have the information they need to disprove Blake's claims. Meanwhile, Blake's spokesperson painted a very different picture, saying this was a necessary step to ensure that discovery proceeds without any chance of witness intimidation or harm to anyone's security. It's like a game of chess, with both sides claiming small victories while planning their next big moves.
Yeah, it's just getting super nasty, and it seems like he's not cowering to this attempted gag order.
Yeah, I don't really understand Blake Lively's point here.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any crazier, a new player enters the scene. Enter the world of documentary filmmakers. That's right. This legal feud is so juicy that it's inspired an entire documentary. Titled He Said, She Said, Blake Lively vs. Justin Baldoni, the 90-minute special is set to air in the UK with a shorter version premiering in the US on March 31. It'll be available to stream on Max and Discovery Plus, and you just know people are going to be glued to their screens. The documentary promises to dissect the allegations, evidence, and the social media frenzy surrounding this case. It even features commentary from an intimacy coordinator named Mia, who, by the way, isn't affiliated with the movie, but had some interesting insights. She suggested that text messages between Justin and Blake showed genuine affection and trust at one point, which just adds another layer of complexity to this whole mess. She even sided with Blake's attempt to avoid kissing scenes, interpreting her actions as considerate and aimed at reducing discomfort on set.
Look at this scene that was captured on tape, you'll see there's nothing nefarious going on. She says this actually proves her point. There's an argument that she is hiding her discomfort with what he's saying and doing, and she's just trying to finish the scene like any kind of professional. Which way you take it, which way you perceive it, again, that'll be up to a jury or the fact finder.
And let's not forget the raw footage that's been making the rounds. Apparently, some behind-the-scenes clips from the film's production show Blake and Justin filming a montage scene, and it sparked a lot of debate. In one clip, you can see them slow dancing, and according to Maya, Blake's body language seemed like she was trying to avoid any unnecessary physical contact. She even suggested that Blake's move to suggest talking instead of kissing during the scene was a thoughtful way to navigate an uncomfortable situation without calling attention to it. But, of course, not everyone agrees. While some see this as Blake being professional and considerate, others have accused her of meddling in the production process. It's one of those situations where everyone's got an opinion and nobody's holding back.
They say Friedman may even be violating the New York rules of professional conduct for lawyers by doing all this. Quote, his conduct threatens to and will materially prejudice both the Lively case and the Wayfarer case by tainting the jury pool because his statements are deliberately aimed at undermining the character, credibility, and reputation of numerous relevant parties.
And as if all that wasn't enough, Ryan Reynolds, yes, Blake's husband, is now caught up in the drama as well. Justin's lawsuit against Blake also names Ryan, claiming he privately called Justin a predator in conversations with others. Ryan's legal team recently filed a motion to dismiss, arguing that this doesn't legally qualify as defamation. According to his lawyers, for it to be defamatory, they'd have to prove that Ryan didn't believe what he was saying was true. And here's the kicker. They argue that the lawsuit actually suggests the opposite, that Ryan genuinely believed what he said. Talk about turning the tables. But for now, Ryan's just trying to get himself removed from this tangled web of lawsuits.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are seeking to dismiss Justin Baldoni's $400 million lawsuit against them.
So where does all this leave us? Well, it's clear that both sides are digging in their heels, and with the trial still a year away, there's plenty of time for more twists and turns. Blake's team is fighting to protect her personal life from being dragged into the spotlight, while Justin is standing firm on his counterclaims, insisting he's been wrongfully accused. And then there's the documentary, which is sure to pour gasoline on an already raging fire. Hollywood is watching this case closely, not just because of the drama, but because of how it might impact the careers of everyone involved. One thing's for sure, this is one legal battle that's going to keep making headlines. And here's where things get even more mind-blowing. If you thought the protective order and Ryan Reynolds being dragged into the mix were the peak of the story, think again. Because now, this legal battle is spilling over into the realm of documentaries, leaked footage, and a spiral of public opinion that's threatening to consume everyone involved. Seriously? This isn't just a court case anymore. It's a full-blown Hollywood spectacle.
We just broke a shocking story. There is a rift, and I think that is an understatement of a word, a rift.
Let's talk about this documentary that has everyone buzzing. He Said, She Said, Blake Lively vs. Justin Baldoni is shaping up to be one of the most talked about specials of the year, and it hasn't even premiered yet. The filmmakers are promising to dissect every juicy detail of this case, from the allegations to the counterclaims, and even the social media frenzy that's been swirling around it. If you didn't know whose side you were on before, chances are this documentary is going to sway you one way or another. The UK is getting the full 90-minute version, while a condensed version will be available in the US by the end of March. Streaming platforms like Max and Discovery Plus have already picked it up, which tells you just how much interest there is in the story.
So remember that what Taylor had told Justin was that Blake herself, she said, was Khaleesi, who was the queen in Game of Thrones, and Ryan, her husband, and Taylor were her dragons. her best friend,
protective
although I
dragon.
think best friend is now past tense.
And here's the kicker. The documentary doesn't just rely on the court filings and public statements. It features commentary from an intimacy coordinator named Maya, who decided to weigh in on the dynamics between Blake and Justin. Now, Maya isn't directly connected to the production of It Ends With Us, but she's worked alongside plenty of A-listers in the past, so her perspective carries weight for a lot of people. According to her, there were text messages exchanged between Blake and Justin that, at one point, suggested they had a sense of mutual trust and even some affection. Can you imagine? It's wild to think that two people now embroiled in such a bitter legal war might once respected each other.
And that also, they say, includes us responding in the public to the montage dancing video that we put out. Why? Because, quote, the Lively Party's counsel publicly described the contents of video footage relating to Miss Lively's allegations as damning. Their statement continued, any woman who's been inappropriately touched in the workplace will recognize Miss Lively's discomfort.
But Mia didn't stop there. She also offered her take on the raw production footage that surfaced earlier this year. In one particularly telling moment from the leaked clips, Blake and Justin are seen filming a slow dancing scene. Apparently, Blake made a subtle suggestion to replace a kiss with some dialogue in the scene. And while some folks have interpreted this as Blake trying to interfere with the creative process, Maya sees it differently. She called Blake's actions considerate, saying it's not uncommon for actors to make changes like this to avoid awkwardness or discomfort. According to Mia, when an actor says, I don't need to meet the intimacy coordinator until we're shooting, as much as it hinders my process, it typically indicates they trust their scene partner. She even pointed out that Blake's decision to suggest dialogue over a kiss could have been her way of preserving everyone's dignity on set. But, of course, not everyone agrees with this interpretation, and the debate over these clips is just adding more fuel to the fire.
Good morning, George. This is a big mess for everyone involved. The legal drama playing out in multiple courts now, literally from coast to coast, and all kinds of people close to these stars, from personal trainers to friends like Taylor Swift, finding their names mentioned as part of this ongoing fight.
And if that wasn't enough, let's talk about the social fallout this case is creating. Because, wow, it's getting messy. We're not just talking about lawyers and courtrooms anymore. This battle is drawing in friends, colleagues, and even other celebrities. For instance, Blake's attempt to keep her private messages with high-profile individuals out of the public eye is raising eyebrows. Who are these unnamed celebrities? And what could these messages possibly contain that's making Blake's team fight so hard to keep them under wraps? The mystery alone is enough to keep people speculating. And you know how Hollywood works. Speculation often leads to rumors, and rumors lead to drama.
That's going to be, probably a game time decision. Anyone that reasonably has information that can be, that can provide evidence in this case is going to be deposed.
Speaking of drama, do you know who's reportedly caught in the middle of all this? Taylor Swift. That's right. The pop superstar has somehow found herself tangled up in this web, and let's just say she's not thrilled about it. According to sources, Blake allegedly referred to Taylor as one of her dragons in some of those leaked messages. In one text, Blake reportedly compared herself to Khaleesi from Game of Thrones, claiming that Taylor and her husband, Ryan, were her dragons, ready to protect her at all costs. Now, depending on how you look at it, this could either be a compliment or an awkward overreach. But insiders are saying that Taylor wasn't exactly flattered by the comparison. In fact, there are whispers that this whole situation has created some serious tension between the two friends. And if that's true, it's just another layer of fallout from this already chaotic case.
This feels a little bit like a cop-out, and I think it's more likely that what she's doing here is trying to stay out of it. This is the Taylor Swift movement. This is likely a legal strategy. I don't want to be involved in this case.
But let's not forget the role of social media in all of this. Platforms like Instagram and Twitter have become battlegrounds for fans and critics alike, with hashtags and trending topics fueling the fire. Every new development, whether it's a court ruling, a leaked clip, or a celebrity comment, gets dissected, analyzed, and debated online. And with both Blake and Justin having such passionate fan bases, the discourse has been nothing short of explosive. Some people are rallying behind Blake, applauding her for standing up against what she claims was inappropriate behavior on set. Others are siding with Justin, arguing that the counterclaims show he's been unfairly targeted. And then there's the crowd that's just here for the tea, watching the drama unfold like it's their favorite reality show.
Impossible. She's already been named, not as a defendant or as a plaintiff, but rather just named in the evidence of Justin Baldoni showing the picture of how things were, how the movie came about.
And while the public is busy picking sides, let's not forget the personal toll this must be taking on everyone involved. Blake and Justin aren't just fighting for their reputations. Their careers are on the line too. Hollywood is an unforgiving place, and no matter how this case ends, it's going to leave a lasting impact. For Blake, this could mean facing challenges in landing future roles, especially if the court documents or leaked materials paint her in a less than favorable light. And for Justin, the stakes are just as high. As a director and actor, his credibility is everything. If he loses this case, or even if public opinion turns against him, it could jeopardize his ability to secure funding or attract talent for future projects.
Weird thing that women do. I don't know why, but we lie to each other on the internet. I see it all the time. I want to call it out. I want to be like the internet police and be like, that's not true. Stop supporting your friends when they're doing bad or harmful things.
And let's circle back to Ryan Reynolds for a moment, because his involvement adds yet another layer of intrigue. As Blake's husband, you'd expect him to support her unconditionally. But Justin's lawsuit against Ryan complicates things in a big way. By accusing Ryan of defamation, Justin is essentially arguing that Ryan's private comments about him have caused significant harm. And while Ryan's lawyers are pushing hard to get the case dismissed, this legal entanglement is undoubtedly a distraction for him as well. Plus, there's the added pressure of being dragged into a public scandal that could have ripple effects on his own career.
Ryan are all out of cards, and they've got nothing to prove this right now.
So what's next? Well, all eyes are on the upcoming documentary and the court proceedings that are sure to follow. With the trial scheduled for March 2026, there's still a lot of time for more twists and turns. Will the documentary sway public opinion in favor of one side? Will more leaked footage or messages surface to change the narrative? And how will this all impact the careers and personal lives of everyone involved? One thing's for sure, this story isn't going away anytime soon. And if anything, it's only going to get more intense as we inch closer to the trial date. Now, here's the real question. Where do you stand in all of this? Do you think the documentary will reveal the truth, or will it just add more fuel to the fire? And what do you make of Taylor Swift's alleged involvement? Do you think she'll publicly address the situation, or will she stay out of it altogether? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, because this is one debate that's far from over. And as always, stay tuned for more updates, because this story has a lot more to give. Until next time,